Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about how the new nullification of the Rise of Skywalker reveals Rey's father is a failed Palpatine clone, which, like really? Okay. First off, I like to say, Darth Sidious being brought back in the Rise of Skywalker, I think that he should have been brought back in either the Force Awakens or him being in the ending of The Last Jedi besides that broom boy. So then we can speculate, oh my god, how can Darth Sidious be brought back? And then that time Lucasfilms could have had more time to actually think how Darth Sidious came back, and would have had more time to please us fans. But let's get into the article. It says, with a big reveal that Darth Sidious is actually Rey's grandfather, Episode 9 confronted fans with a very serious question. Did Palpatine fuck? Well, I was really thinking that once, but okay. So it's a question that I explored in some depth, trying to figure out when and how Palpatine might have fathered a child. In non-canon Star Wars history, there was a precedent for Sheev Palpatine having sexual partners at various points in his long horrible life. But the film itself did not bother to answer this specific question about Rey's parents, even if it used this moment to reverse a powerful reveal that she was just a regular young woman capable of incredible things. She was OPSL in the movies, by the way, but based on her own talent and not the bloodline of a galactic mass murderer. So we left to wonder who Rey's parents were and how she ever had kids. Thankfully, a new novelization reveals that Rey's father is actually a failed Palpatine clone. It's revealed early on in the book that the Palpatine we're seeing on screen is not the same Palpatine from Return of the Jedi, but in fact a clone of Pappy Sheev. A clone, as one passage in the book reads, Emperor Palpatine lived after that fashion, and Kylo could feel it in his very bones that this clone sheltered the Emperor's actual spirit. And then it continues, one genetic strandcast lived, thrived even, a not quite identical clone, his son. But he was a useless, powerful failure. Palpatine could not even bear to look upon such disappointing ordinariness. The boy's only worth would lay in continuing the bloodline through natural methods. So this is implied the clone that eventually became Rey's father. That's the clone that actually became Rey's father. However, we don't really know the details to fill in the timeline between the clone creation and his supposedly finding love, escaping from his genetically identical father Palpatine, and eventually sacrificing himself for Rey. Sounds like a good story, but I know Star Wars at all. But if I know Star Wars at all, it will almost certainly be told in some form very soon. So they should have, like I said, they should have explained how Darth Sidious got brought back in the movies, or in the movie, because you may you may be allowed to get away with not answering some questions in the movies, but I feel like how Palpatine was came back should have been in the movie. My brother said, "Oh, it was." I saw it 3 times. Never got. I never saw it. I never saw where they explained how Palpatine survived. I never got that he was a clone. They said that he died in the movie, but as far as we know, they could have like resuscitated him back to life, and that's probably why he needed that battle cross to his waist. I mean, and this is before like the novelization came out, but and yeah, he could have been a clone, but it would have still been nice to see that in the movie. It would have been one of those cool things to see in the movie. Like, okay, you're bringing Darth Sidious, you're bringing him back to life for what 30, 40 years, however long the Rise of Skywalker takes after the last Return of the Jedi. That we thought Palpatine died, and you bring him back in the movie. Yeah, you told us how he died, but you never told us how he came back to life. And you're explaining this in the book? Really? Yeah, the prequels had their issues, but at least every question that George Lucas might have, like, have had us fans wondering, like in the Venom Menace, like got answered in either in the Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith, and with Dave Filoni's help, Clone Wars, and in a way, same with the original trilogies. Each question that was asked was kind of answered in the original trilogy or later on when George Lucas decided to go back to make the prequels, and then adding on to like the Clone Wars, answering it. And here's the thing: 90% of the questions I were asked were answered in the movies under George Lucas' reign. We didn't know how Maz Kanata found Luke's lightsaber or Anakin's lightsaber, because it was teased in The Force Awakens as he would tell us. The Last Jedi, okay, we didn't get that answered, so that was always the last episode 9. Episode 9 came out, still no answer. So what? We're going to see that in a book or a game? It would have been cool to see like a scene, but where Maz tells us, "Hey, this is how I got the Skywalker saber. Luke might have found it. He gave it to me. I don't know." But I would have been more interested in seeing how Darth Sidious has came back, because that's a pretty prominent role. And it says in here that before, like as he was falling down the elevator shaft thing in Return of the Jedi, he put his essence into another being. Okay, I'm not saying I fully agree with this, but it would have been nice to get some sort of explanation in the movie. We got an explanation. We saw that Leia was trained in the ways of the Jedi, and even though some fans were kind of skeptical about that scene, I wasn't. I honestly dug that scene, but maybe they could have replaced that scene or like that visual effect with how Palpatine, like replace that part, like the visual effect with how Palpatine survived or was cloned. Like actually tell us in the movie, because I feel like that would be more important than showing us that Leia had Jedi training. In terms of like storyline, and yeah, in the books, in video games, or in future shows. they could have had it where we could have seen Leia have some Jedi training. But, and then and then in this article, they are saying that Rey's father's a failed clone of Palpatine, so that means that Darth Sidious is not only Rey's grandfather, but Rey's father. Like, they got away with that with Jango Fett, with the Jango and Boba Fett's part. And they could have, and they did. I'm giving a pass to the whole Fett situation, because Jango wanted a son to raise a clone of himself as his own son, and he did that. So I am giving the whole Fett thing a pass, but like, I feel like this could have been where like Matt Smith could have came in. Like, I would have had where, yeah, probably kept the same outline. Darth Sidious, like, subverting his consciousness into another person, and then that old body could have been transferring his essence into Matt Smith's character, and Matt Smith's character could be really strong in the Force, and once Darth Sidious transferred Matt Smith's, like, his essence into Matt Smith, it could have been a really epic and badass fight scene with Luke or Rey. I would have gotten it with Rey, because then we could have a really badass epic fight scene with Rey, and then Kylo Ren being Ben Solo at the time, helping Rey out. It could have been literally one of the greatest Star Wars duels in the Star Wars history. It could have been one of the greatest Star Wars duels in the sequel trilogy as well. And they missed out on that chance. I don't believe that Rise of Skywalker was the best that J.J. Abrams could have came up with. But how I feel about Rey's father being a failed clone of Darth Sidious, I mean, it's kind of weird, but I would have been more okay with it. I would have been more susceptible to the news, like, in terms of accepting it, if we got in the movie. Guess we got shit on how Palpatine returned. All we got was he died. Okay, but how did you come back? We got novelizations now? Video games now? Well, I gotta wait until, like, potentially Mandalorian? These type of things, like how Sidious returned, would have been better answered in the movie, and they did not do that. But I feel like Rey's father being a failed Palpatine clone is like, I find it stupid, but at the same time I am accepting of it, only because how the Rise of Skywalker turned out. I'm accepting it with how, in the way that we got the Rise of Skywalker, but which is a deceptive name, by the way. But I, but regardless if I'm accepting it in the context that we got Episode 9, I still find this dumb. And maybe this could have been where, like, Matt Smith could have came in. Like, I've heard Matt Smith, who played the 11th Doctor on Doctor Who, was going to be in Star Wars, Episode 9. Did not see that happen. I'm kind of mad about that. Maybe they could have had it where Matt Smith could have been Rey's father. I don't know. It's just, I'm kind of, like, on one hand, I'm going to accept this with the trash pile that we got for Episode 9. But on the other side, I feel like this could have been better. Like, a failed Palpatine is Rey's father, so that makes Palpatine Rey's father and grandfather. I don't know. I honestly do not really know how to feel about this. I genuinely don't. But how do you guys feel about this? Do you guys like it, dislike it, or any about it? Leave a comment down below, and may the force be with us all.